I propose that we set up an online database system which will address problems occurring in the world today and provide solutions that are backed by research and not just opinion. Consequently, this will create a strong foundation for us to then develop tools to spread awareness all over the world, inspiring people to educate themselves and to become problem solvers. Before explaining the Education and Awareness Project, it would be ideal to first explore the underlying principles of education and awareness. I mean, when I mention the word education, what comes to mind? Do you feel the way education operates in society today is good enough? And if not, why not? Personally, I don't believe education should be primarily about the transfer of information from one person to the next, but instead it should be the process in which we inspire other people to question and think for themselves. Furthermore, the education people receive shouldn't be based upon their geographical location or the amount of money they have. It should be about how much they want to be educated. Now, when it comes to spreading awareness of this project, the goal should be focused upon making people want to actively participate in this. It should literally just be about making people aware. It may sound like an obvious point, but it is one that is disregarded by so many activist groups and movements today who aim to indoctrinate others with their values. To give an example of spreading awareness recently, I have been informing my friends about things going on in the world at the moment not many people know about. They agree with me that solutions need to be implemented, but they do not feel motivated to act now. They have gone back to living their lives, not letting this new information affect the way they live their life. However, this is okay, because there may become a point where their personal life becomes affected by local, national, or global problems. This could include becoming unemployed or building up a huge debt. Such occurrences would be the very catalyst which makes them decide to become active in the Education and Awareness Project. This would be their own awakening to the reality that this world needs to come together. And so ultimately, the main point I'd like to make about education awareness is that it's about giving people the ability to choose. Because if people choose to become involved in this project, and not because they've been told to join, they will be much more passionate and engaged. Many people will argue that awareness is about taking to the streets and making a physical presence to promote the change they wish to see in this world. This is certainly a part of the awareness process, but having a strong foundation which contains detailed information with credibility will give much more focus and power to those wishing to take such actions. Because if or when the system fails, the frustration among society will be reduced if we have a transparent source of information which provides viable solutions to the occurring problems. Frustration comes from the lack of solution, and people live their lives while politicians take care of society. I put that in inverted commas. And this is exactly why the average person doesn't have solutions for many of the world's problems today, because in their current system, it was never their responsibility. But regardless of your job title, whether you're a politician or a shopkeeper, we are all humans and we should all have the opportunity to help change the world for the better. We can see currently that political systems all over the world are being held under immense scrutiny by the general populations. For example, when civil unrest is occurring in the Middle East, many of us do not look towards our prime ministers and presidents to find out what is going on. We can see it with our own eyes through the internet. Therefore, we turn to our leaders and say, this is going on, so what are you doing about it? Furthermore, having an educated population will actually reduce significantly the risk of governmental corruption and exploitation. And going back to the issue of frustration is going to occur when things within this society start to fail and people begin to wonder things like, how did these elected politicians allow this to happen? This is when anger will really hit hard. The recession was described by many politicians as being unforeseeable, when this was simply not the case. The only reasons it could have been unexpected, as they would describe it, would be due to poor communication of information, since there were politicians who did warn us back then, or the fact opinions and hidden agendas got in the way. After all, my driving instructor warned me about a recession coming years before it actually did, because he had access to research and information which revealed this. A recent event I'd like to highlight that illustrates the nature of frustration is the loss of confidence in the government in Egypt. People took to the streets with very passionate but peaceful protests because they had a solution in mind. They knew what they wanted, and therefore frustration was at a controllable level. But when President Mubarak said he wasn't going to step down, which is what the people wanted, frustration rose and violent clashes began because people no longer knew what they could do. But when the president finally did step down, the country united and things went to a new degree of normality. I mean, next day people were clearing up the streets and getting back on with their lives. Education is about empowering people with the ability to become problem solvers based on legitimate research and not opinion, whilst awareness is about giving people the opportunity to come together and work towards common goals. So the Education and Awareness project I'd like to propose consists of 3 stages. The first is to create an information database, and secondly, to enable audience acquisition, and third, to create tools for spreading awareness. By watching the videos I've posted about each stage of the project, you will realise that regardless of your experience and passions in life, there is something here for everyone to get involved with. And hopefully, this will achieve the goals it's been set out to do.